Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English with Liam and Olivia.
Yes, welcome. We are so genuinely happy you are here with us today.
This is the podcast where English feels real, natural, and part of your everyday life.
No pressure, no heavy lessons, just honest conversations that help you grow in a real way.
And today we have an episode that is going to make your English sound so much more natural immediately.
Yes, because today we are talking about something that native speakers do constantly without even thinking about it.
Something that makes English conversations flow beautifully and feel alive and human.
And once you start doing it too, people are going to feel so much more connected to you when you speak.
So this one is genuinely exciting. Let us get into it. But first, a small and genuine request from us to you.
If this podcast is helping your English feel more natural and more confident, please like this episode right now.
And if you have not yet subscribed, please join our community today. A brand new episode is waiting for you every single day.
Every episode you listen to is one more real step forward on your journey. Do not miss a single one. So today we are talking about agreement.
But not just saying yes, because in real, natural English, yes is actually just one tiny option.
Native speakers have a whole world of ways to say yes without ever using the word yes at all.
And when you only know yes and okay, your English can sound a little flat, a little robotic, a little transactional.
But when you know the full range of agreement expressions, your English starts to sound alive.
It starts to sound like someone who's genuinely engaged, genuinely listening, genuinely responding.
And that quality, that sense of being genuinely present in a conversation, is one of the most attractive things in any language.
So today we are going to teach you 3 groups of ways to say yes without saying yes.
Group 1, casual and friendly agreement expressions for everyday conversation.
Group 2, enthusiastic and emphatic agreement for moments when you really mean it.
And Group 3, softer and more thoughtful agreement for emotional and sensitive conversations.
By the end of this episode, you are going to have a full toolkit of natural agreement expressions.
And your conversations are going to feel completely different, more alive, more connected, more real.
Let us start. Let us begin with Group 1, casual and friendly agreement expressions.
These are the everyday phrases that native speakers use constantly in normal, flowing conversation.
The first one is for sure.
For sure is one of the most natural and common ways to agree in casual English.
It says yes, absolutely, without any doubt, but it feels light and relaxed rather than formal.
Think about a friend asking if you want to get coffee this weekend. You say, for sure. What time works for you?
That for sure is warm and easy. It says, yes, I want this. I'm in. Let's make it happen.
Or a colleague asking if you can send over a file before the end of the day. You say, for sure, I'll get that to you by 4 o'clock.
Professional, reliable, natural. No stiff certainly or of course, just for sure.
And in a family situation, your parent asks if you'll come home for the holidays this year. You say, for sure, I wouldn't miss it.
For sure here carries warmth and commitment. It sounds genuine rather than obligatory.
Use for sure when you want to say yes in a relaxed, confident way. It works in almost any casual or semi-professional situation.
The second casual expression, absolutely.
Absolutely is a step up from for sure in terms of energy. It carries strong agreement with a feeling of enthusiasm.
But it's still very natural and widely used, not too formal, not too casual, just right for most situations.
Your manager asks if you're committed to the new project direction. You say, absolutely, I think it's the right move for the team.
That absolutely is professional and confident. It signals that you are fully on board.
Or a friend asks if you think their new apartment is as beautiful as they described it. You walk in and say, absolutely, this is even better than I imagined.
That absolutely is genuine appreciation. It makes your friend feel proud and excited and validated.
And when someone asks if you believe in something important, if you stand behind a value or a decision,
you say, absolutely, I believe in this completely.
Absolutely makes agreement feel solid, certain, trustworthy. It's a yes that people believe. The third casual expression, of course.
Of course is beautiful because it carries a feeling of naturalness, as if the answer could not possibly be anything else.
Think about a friend asking you to keep a secret they just shared. You say, of course, you never have to worry about that with me.
That, of course, says this is not even a question. Your trust is completely safe. This is who I am.
Or someone asking if you enjoyed a beautiful meal they cooked for you. You say, "Of course, it was incredible. You're such a talented cook."
Of course here feels warm and affirming. It says naturally yes, without any doubt.
And at work, someone asks if you received the important email they sent. You say, "Of course, I read it this morning and I have some thoughts."
Professional, clear, reassuring. Of course says yes, and also, I'm on top of things.
The beauty of course is that it implies the positive answer was the obvious one, the natural one, the only one worth considering.
And that implied obviousness makes the other person feel good. It says, of course I agree. How could I not? Now, say it with us. Everyone listening, repeat these three out loud.
For sure. Absolutely. Of course.
Say them again with warmth in your voice. For sure. Absolutely. Of course.
Feel how much more alive those sound than just saying yes. Feel the emotion they carry, the certainty, the enthusiasm.
Use them when you truly mean it, when you feel that full agreement in your heart. Let these words carry that feeling.
Now, let's move to group 3, softer and more thoughtful agreement expressions.
These are for the moments when agreement needs to feel gentle, when the conversation is emotional or sensitive.
When someone needs to feel heard and validated rather than just agreed with.
The first expression in this group, I know what you mean.
I know what you mean is one of the most connecting phrases in the English language.
It doesn't just say yes, it says, I understand your experience. I have felt something similar. You're not alone in this.
Think about a friend describing how overwhelmed she feels juggling work and family responsibilities. She says, "Some days I just feel like I can't keep up with everything."
And you say, I know what you mean. That feeling of running but never quite catching up, it's exhausting.
That "I know what you mean" creates immediate emotional connection. Your friend feels less alone in her struggle.
Or a colleague describing the frustration of not being heard in meetings.
You say, "I know what you mean." It can feel so discouraging when you have something valuable to contribute and the moment passes.
You agreed, but more than that, you validated. You showed that you understood not just the facts, but the feeling behind the words.
And in a personal conversation about something difficult someone is going through.
They say, sometimes it just feels like things will never change.
And you say, "I know what you mean." That feeling of stuckness is one of the hardest things to sit with.
I know what you mean in these moments is not just agreement, it is companionship. It is saying, I am here with you in this feeling.
The second soft expression, "that makes sense."
That makes sense is a beautiful way to agree with someone's reasoning or decision without being too emphatic.
It says, "I understand why you think this. Your logic is clear. Your feeling is valid."
Think about a friend explaining why they decided to leave a job that looked successful from the outside.
She gives her reasons thoughtfully and honestly, and you say, "That makes complete sense. Your well-being has to come first."
That makes sense validates her decision without excessive enthusiasm. It says, I hear your reasoning, and it is sound.
Or a colleague explaining why they approached a project in an unconventional way.
They walk you through their thinking, and you say, that actually makes a lot of sense. I can see why you went that direction.
"That actually makes a lot of sense" is warm and thoughtful. It shows you genuinely engaged with their reasoning and found it valid.
And in a personal situation, someone explains why they are choosing to step back from a relationship that is not serving them.
You say, "That makes complete sense. You deserve to protect your peace."
That makes sense in emotional situations, gives people permission. It says your choice is reasonable. You do not need to justify it further.
And that permission is sometimes exactly what someone needs to hear.
The third soft expression, I think you're right.
"I think you're right" is one of the most generous things you can say to another person in English.
Because it requires a moment of genuine consideration. It is not automatic. It is thoughtful agreement after reflection.
Think about a conversation where someone offers you advice you were not expecting, but that actually resonates deeply.
You sit with it for a moment, and then you say, I think you're right. I have been avoiding that conversation for too long.
That "I think you're right" is vulnerable and honest. It says you saw something I needed to see, and I'm ready to acknowledge it.
Or in a work discussion, your colleague challenges your approach to a problem. You listen carefully, and you realize they have a point.
You say, "Actually, I think you're right. Your approach would probably get better results. Let's go with that."
That I think you're right in a professional context is a real sign of confidence and emotional maturity.
It takes security security to say someone else is right, and people respect that enormously.
And in a personal relationship, your partner or a close friend points out something about your behavior that you needed to hear.
You feel the truth of it, and you say, I think you're right. I need to work on that. Thank you for telling me.
I think you're right, followed by gratitude, is one of the most healing combinations in any relationship.
It says, I hear you, I agree, and I'm glad you cared enough to say it. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes learners make when trying to express agreement in English.
The first mistake, overusing yes and okay until the conversation feels flat and transactional.
When every agreement is just yes or okay, yes,
The other person begins to wonder if you're really listening, if you're really engaged, if you care about what they're saying.
the solution is to match your agreement expression to the emotional weight of the moment.
Light moment, use for sure, or totally, or absolutely.
Heavy emotional moment, use I know what you mean, or that makes complete sense, or I think you're right.
And rotate. Use different expressions in the same conversation. Let your agreement feel alive and varied.
The second mistake, using emphatic agreement in situations where gentle agreement is needed.
For example, someone shares something vulnerable and difficult, and you respond with, totally, 100%.
Those phrases are too energetic for a soft, emotional moment. They can feel dismissive or like you're rushing past the feeling.
In those moments, I know what you mean, or that makes complete sense, is so much more connecting.
Match the energy of your agreement to the energy of the moment. Enthusiastic situations call for enthusiastic agreement.
Tender situations call for tender agreement. Feeling the difference and responding accordingly is advanced emotional intelligence in English.
The third mistake, using agreement expressions without any follow-up content.
For example, someone shares a complex thought or feeling, and you just say, exactly, and then silence.
The exactly is good, but it leaves the other person wondering if you really understood or if you're just agreeing automatically.
Always follow your agreement expression with something that shows you genuinely engaged, that you didn't just hear the words but felt the meaning behind them.
Exactly. That's such an important point. I've been thinking about the same thing lately.
Or totally, and it connects to what you were saying earlier about feeling unsupported.
The agreement expression opens the door. The follow-up content proves you walked through it.
And that combination, agreement plus genuine engagement, is what makes conversations feel truly alive.
Now, let's bring all of these expressions into real daily life situations together.
Imagine a Monday morning. You arrive at work and your colleague is telling you about a difficult client call she had on Friday.
She describes how frustrating it was, how she tried her best but nothing seemed to work.
You listen carefully and say, I know what you mean. Some clients are just in a place where they can't be satisfied no matter what you do. It's genuinely draining.
She feels heard. She feels less alone in the frustration. The Monday already feels more manageable.
Later, your manager shares a new strategy for the quarter. She explains her reasoning clearly, and it genuinely makes sense to you.
You say, that makes a lot of sense actually, especially given what happened with the last campaign. I think this direction is much stronger.
Your manager feels validated. Her strategic thinking has been seen and affirmed. The team meeting moves forward with energy.
At lunch, a colleague suggests trying a new place nearby that you've been curious about.
You say, absolutely. I've been wanting to try that place for weeks. Let's do it.
Absolutely here is warm and enthusiastic. Your colleague feels their suggestion was welcomed, not just accepted.
End of the day, your manager thanks you for your contribution in the morning meeting. She says your input made a real difference.
You say, of course, I always want to contribute where I can. I really believe in what this team is building.
Of course, here is humble and genuine. It says, contributing is natural to me. It's who I am.
One workday, 4 different agreement expressions, each one matching the moment perfectly.
Now let's try a friendship situation.
You're meeting a close friend for dinner. She's been going through a difficult period and you haven't seen her in a while.
She starts to open up about how hard things have been, how lonely and exhausted she has felt.
You say, I know what you mean. That kind of tired is different. It goes deeper than just needing sleep.
She looks up at you with relief. She feels understood. The dinner becomes a real conversation instead of just catching up.
She mentions that she finally made a decision to start therapy. She seems slightly nervous about how you receive this.
You say, that makes complete sense. Taking care of your mind is one of the most courageous things you can do.
She exhales. She needed that validation. Your that makes complete sense gave her permission to feel proud of her decision.
Later, she asks if you think she's being too hard on herself about everything. She genuinely wants your honest view.
You think about it for a moment, and then you say,
Honestly, I think you're right to want more for yourself, but I also think you're being harder on yourself than you deserve.
I think you're right, combined with honest nuance. It shows you took her question seriously. You engaged with it fully.
And that engagement is the greatest gift you can give someone in a real conversation.
Later, the mood lifts a bit, and she suggests a spontaneous weekend trip next month to somewhere neither of you has been.
Your whole face lights up and you say 100%, I'm already excited. Where are we going?
100% here is pure joy, pure enthusiasm, pure shared excitement about something wonderful to come.
And your friend laughs and feels the lightness of having a real friend who shows up for all of it, the hard parts and the joyful parts.
Let's try one more situation, a romantic or deeply personal one.
You and your partner having a quiet evening at home, a real conversation about life and what you both want.
Your partner shares something they've been holding on to for a while, a dream they've been afraid to say out loud.
They finish speaking and look at you a little nervously, waiting to see how you receive it.
You say, I know what you mean. I have felt something similar, that pull towards something that feels right, but also terrifying.
They feel instantly less alone. You didn't dismiss the dream. You didn't jump to practical concerns. You met them in the feeling first.
They ask if you think they should go for it, if you believe they're capable.
You say 100%. I've always known you were capable of more than you give yourself credit for.
100% here isn't casual enthusiasm, it's deep belief, expressed simply, powerfully, lovingly.
They ask if you're sure because this dream would require changes for both of you. You take their hand and say, absolutely, and I want to figure out how we make it work together.
Absolutely here is a commitment, a yes that says, I'm with you in this, not just in the idea, but in the reality of making it happen.
And your partner feels loved, supported, believed in, not because you said yes, but because of how you said it.
That's the power of these expressions, not the word itself, but the feeling it carries when you choose it with intention.
Say it with us one final time. Everyone listening, repeat these out loud.
For sure. Absolutely. Of course. Totally. 100%. Exactly. I know what you mean. That makes sense. I think you are right.
Say them again with warmth and full feeling. For sure. Absolutely. Of course. Totally. 100%. Exactly. I know what you mean. That makes sense. I think you're right. 9 ways to say yes without saying yes. All natural, all human, all yours now.
Use them this week in every conversation and feel how your English comes alive.
Let's bring everything together now.
Group 1 was casual and friendly agreement. For sure. Absolutely. Of course. These work beautifully in everyday, relaxed conversations.
Group 2 was enthusiastic and emphatic agreement. Totally. 100%. Exactly. These are for moments of full, strong, shared feeling.
Group 3 was soft and thoughtful agreement. I know what you mean. That makes sense. I think you're right. These are for tender, emotional, and vulnerable conversations.
And remember, match the expression to the moment. Light moments need light agreement. Heavy moments need gentle agreement. Exciting moments need enthusiastic agreement.
And always follow your agreement expression with something that shows you truly engaged, that you didn't just hear the words, but felt the meaning behind them.
Exactly. That's what makes real conversation, real connection, real fluency.
And you are building all of that right now. Every episode, every expression, every conversation you attempt.
You're not just learning English words, you're learning how to connect with people in a deeper and more human way.
And that is one of the most beautiful things any person can do in any language.
Keep going, keep practicing, keep showing up to conversations even when it feels uncertain.
Because every time you do, you are becoming more of the English speaker you want to be. We see it. We believe in it completely.
100%.
100% indeed.
If today's episode helped you feel more equipped and more natural in English conversations, please give it a like right now.
And if you are not yet subscribed, please join our family today. A brand new episode is ready for you every single day.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. Every single listen means the world to us, truly.
This has been English with Liam and Olivia. Simple English, real conversations, daily practice.
Take care of yourselves. Keep speaking, keep connecting. We will see you in the very next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.